Hey there everyone. So last week was the first week of the new year, the new decade, 2020, and it was also when I got my first international job offer, offering to pay me more than 100K, and I didn't even apply for it. I wasn't even planning to take on a job. It just came to me. So, people are always asking me, how do you get all these opportunities? What do you do? What's the secret? So it is my mission to teach you guys this because it's such an important skill set, and I don't want you guys to remain like a lot of people are in that rat race, competing against other people. You want to do good work, you want to get a great international position, but it feels like there's just too much competition and you can't get yourself noticed, because it doesn't have to be like that, and there's a much better way for you guys to position yourselves so you get the best positions, so you can stop looking for a job and get on with your mission and start actually doing highly paid work that you love. So if you are there, whether this is live or whether you're watching after the replay, let me know where you are coming in from and what is your sector. What job sector are you in, or what job sector do you want to get into? We have Lucas here, welcome. We have Anastasia as well, welcome. I don't know if it's Anastasia or Anastasia, but you can correct me. So as we're going through, just let me know, if you have any specific questions about your industry or your specific situation, just let me know below and I'll do my best to answer you. Or obviously, if this is after the broadcast, you can always write to me personally. So how do you do this? What's the magic? What's the secret to getting positions to come to you through the hidden job market as opposed to sending applications? Well, it's not magic. It requires an actual system, and it requires for you to set up the system to be able to position yourself in this way. So the reason I got a job without actually trying to get a job, I didn't apply, I didn't even ask anyone for a job. If I really had wanted to get a job, I could have reached out to my network and whatever. I didn't even do that, but it's because I set up the system a long time ago, and the system works so well that it continuously brings me these great opportunities. So the first step in the system, the most important foundation that you have to have, and a lot of people actually skip this. Oh, we have Sasha here. Welcome, Sasha. So nice to see you. So the first step in the process is to know your purpose. So you need to know, what is it that lights you up? What is it that you're excited about? I know this sounds wishy-washy, but I can't tell you how many people I talk to who they're not 100% clear on what it is that they want to do. They come to me and they're like, I want a good job. I think I could do this, or I think I could do that, or maybe, but I'd be okay if I did the next thing. Well, guess what? You're not going to get any of them. Or if you're lucky enough to get something, it's not going to be something that you really enjoy. And so you really want to avoid aiming for stepping stone type positions. Don't say, oh, well, it's okay for me to start off as an assistant as long as one day I make it to whatever. Or, oh, maybe I'll just start off with this because it seems realistic, and then maybe I can make my way to the thing I really want to do later. Or hopefully I just figure out what I really want to do as I go along. The problem with that is then people don't see you as a specialist. If you just reach out to people and say, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity, I'm looking for a job, please think of me, they won't think of you because they see you as someone who doesn't know what they're doing and someone who doesn't have a specific skill set. And you also can come to them and, I see this happen as well, where people hand someone their CV and they say, you see, I've done all these different things, or I'm capable of all these different things, so if you see something that matches, let me know. And people are just confused, and even if you're a nice person, you've given them so many different things, that supposedly you can do, and even if you can, even if you're amazing and you really can do all these things, people are skeptical, and I'm sure you are an amazing person, I'm sure you can do all those things that you say you can, but a lot of times in the job market, that actually makes people skeptical. It actually makes them wonder, can they really do all these things? Or are they just kind of making it up? Or are they just desperate for a job that they need to tell me that they can do anything and really, jack of all trades, master of none? So it's really, really important to get clear on what is your purpose? What is that ideal job role that you're aiming for? And if you're confused about how to do this, don't be hard on yourself. This is literally just this first step. I'm going to share with you the next steps, which are also extremely important. But this foundational step is something that 99% of people get wrong, and they keep themselves in these vicious cycles for the rest of their lives where they're constantly like, oh, hopefully I find something, hopefully I find the dream job, hopefully I figure out my purpose. But there's actually a process that I take my clients through so that within 10 days time maximum, they figure out their purpose. And by the end of those 10 days to clarity sequence, they know what is that target job role, and they can get on with it and get into the next part of the system, versus what most people do, which is literally spending years of their life hoping they will stumble upon the thing, the dream job role. And of course, they never stumble upon it, and nobody ever gives it to them because they're not seen as the specialist. So step number one, know your purpose, know what is exactly that perfect position for you. So in my case, I was very lucky in that I figured this out quite a long time ago. So I was able to set that foundation early on. And so I'll give you my example. It's just one example. It doesn't mean you need to be like me. It doesn't mean you will be like me. Like I can tell you with my clients, they come from all walks of life, and most of them are nothing like me. But there are certain key components that are the same for everyone. And one of those is knowing what your purpose is. So in my case, because a lot of people ask me, well, what do you do? I do communications work. So I am a bit of a generalist, you guys. Like if you're the kind of person who just likes to do a lot of different things and are capable of a lot of different things, I really get you, because I'm like that too. I'm not the kind of, I have kind of a fear of commitment, and I used to have a fear of commitment where I would be afraid that if I pigeonholed myself into one thing, I wouldn't get to do all these other things, and I would feel too limited. Like I think one of my biggest core values is freedom. And anything that has to do with limitation is like, I'm allergic to it. I don't want it. So I didn't want to get stuck into any one thing. On the other hand, I realized I needed to have that core skill set. So one thing that's worked well for me is to be in communications. I do a wide range of communications. There are other people who go more specific in a particular type of communications. I've done a whole range of things. I like it that way because for me, it's specific enough that it shows I have a real skill set, but it still allows me to do so many different things, so many different things, work in many different places for many different people, and for me it's been great. For some of you, it's gonna need to be more specific than that. For some of you, you can find that space where it's something that is general enough that you feel like you're expansive, if you're that kind of person who wants to cover a wide variety of areas, but still specific enough. But anyway, if you have any questions about that, or your specific industry, like you're not sure if a particular role is too general or too specific, or all these kind of crazy questions that keep us stuck, send me a message and let me know, and we'll see if we can get that sorted for you. So, is that clear, you guys? Step number one is figure out that exact job role. Let me know below, have you figured that out, and what is it? Or if you don't know what it is, just, let us know below. Still figuring it out. What are you thinking about? Okay. And then step number two is your positioning and your branding. So people need to see you as that specialist. And again, this is a tough one when you're feeling like people are not noticing you, and maybe you figured out your target job role, but your experience has nothing to do with the job role that you want. Like even when I started off in communications, obviously I did not yet have that international communications specialist experience. So how are you supposed to get someone to give you that opportunity when you don't look that great on paper? Or maybe you look pretty good on paper, but nothing compared to the other people applying, which just leaves you out of the race completely. What do you do? And yes, it's all well and good to know that target role, know that purpose. If you don't know how to actually get offered those opportunities, it's pointless. Hey, Olha, nice to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Let me know if you have any questions as we go through, because I like to hear from you guys. So number two is your branding. You need to have people see you as the specialist. So how do you do that? This has various components. The first part of that is to recognize your own value. So I see a lot of people try to sell themselves to the market when they don't even know what's valuable about them. Like if you ask them, what's really valuable about yourself? They will tell you things that are not even, they don't even seem convinced about it, so they certainly can't convince anyone else. Or the things they are convinced about is actually not what an employer is looking for. So I have a lot of people tell me, well, I can do this, I can do that, I can do the next thing, I'm a specialist at this, and employers just don't care. And it's really sad because actually they have a really great skill set that employers do care about. And one thing that can happen that I see a lot is that the thing that might be really easy for you it might be the thing that employers value the most, but to you, it feels like that's too easy. That can't possibly be my main skill set. For me, it comes too easily. I know this is something that I had as well, where some of the things that to me are the most natural things in the world that I thought everyone could do, it turns out no. And a lot of employers are like, wow, we've been looking for someone who can do that for years, and now you're here. And I was like, what? That's not even a real skill set. But it turns out it is. So it's really important to do this deep dive. I know it's hard to do that. Like, I know for me, I only realized that when employers started telling me what was valuable, and I had never realized it before. So that is where it can be really helpful to have that external opinion to uncover what your skill set is from the perspective of employers, not just from your own perspective, right? It's not like, oh, I'm a great mom, or I'm a great daughter, or I'm a great friend. You know, it's what is it that to the employers is going to be valuable. Or even another one I see, I'm highly motivated. Yes, aren't we all supposedly highly motivated? But what is the thing that really is something that's useful to employers and that they catch on with? It doesn't sound like what everyone is telling them. It's not another one of these highly motivated people. So you need to uncover your value. Hey, Alicia, how are you? Let us know if you have questions as we go along. So step number 2, uncover your value and then brand yourself. Make sure that people see you as that person. So there are lots of components within that. I won't have time here to go through every single one of them, but obviously your CV is a great marketing tool. Unfortunately, most people use their CVs in the incorrect way. They think that their CV is like their whole life story on a piece of paper and that people are going to read the CV and then want to hire them. It's just another marketing tool, and there's more work to be done before you even start working on your CV, like this uncovering your value and figuring out what is the actual position that you want before you even touch your CV. But once you know that, your CV can be a good way to tell that story in a way that's convincing to employers, in a way that really showcases what it is that you have to offer and tailors you towards that role. Another really, really great tool that my clients have been using successfully is social media. So you don't have to use social media to get a job necessarily. Like this job that I just got, I did not get it via social media, but I do get a lot of positions from social media, and I think it is such a valuable tool these days. So definitely, if I know a lot of you guys are already trying to use LinkedIn and stuff like that, but it's not working, and that's because it is becoming really saturated on these platforms, and a lot of people are using them incorrectly and actually burning their bridges versus getting the right contacts and getting those positions. So when you know how to use social media correctly, that is where you can actually have people reach out to you. Like I've been offered positions over Facebook, I've been offered positions over WhatsApp and things like that. So, and even on LinkedIn. So when you use them correctly, you're going to have people reach out to you and start offering you those positions. Actually, I had a client who started around this time last year, and she, once we went through her LinkedIn profile, she had someone reach out to her offering her an international position, and a couple of weeks later, she was off to a new country to start that position, and she hasn't looked back since. So that is definitely a really, really good way for you guys to get job offers. Don't ignore social media, but make sure you're doing it the right way, because a lot of people are not, and that's why they're not getting the job opportunities that they would like to be getting. And in fact, they're making things worse because they're burning those bridges. So that's your branding. Make sure you are seen as the specialist. And that can work, by the way, even if some of you have told me, yeah, but really, I don't have any good experience, where employers, I have some experience, I know it's valuable, but employers really don't see it as being valuable. What am I supposed to even write on those social profiles? I can tell you, I've had clients from all shapes and sizes. So some of them have like 20, 30 years experience, and that has its own challenges in and of itself, right? Competing at those higher levels, and not to mention not looking like someone who is too stuck in a certain area. So if you have 30 years in one area, that can make it really difficult to shift into another one. Hi Arzo, how are you? Nice to see you here. So, and then I have other clients who are starting off practically from scratch, like Leticia, who we did an interview with her recently, and she actually was almost going to go back to school just because she didn't know what else to do. She had zero contacts, very limited experience, and was feeling like there was no way anyone was going to offer her a job. But then when we went through her uncovering that value and realizing what that actually was, and then also totally refurbishing her social media profiles. Now she has people offering her positions. So sounds like magic. It's not. There's a lot of work to be done within that. But think about how it is that you're positioning yourself, and are you positioning yourself as the specialist, as that person they need? Or are you positioning yourself as, oh, please let me know if there's an opportunity. Let me know, pick me. Make sure you are not positioning yourself that way, because then you're not going to get anything most likely. And if you do, you're not going to get a great job. You're going to get something that nobody else wanted and they needed someone. That's not how opportunities work. It's not like there's these openings and they're just desperate for someone and then you get it. Like, if you want a good opportunity, you need to position yourself as the person for that job. And then finally is the hidden job market, which I'm always going on and on about. And I feel like a lot of people, they go, well, the hidden job market, that sounds kind of magical or kind of mysterious. I don't really know how that works, so I'll just forget about it and stick to the applications. Or they say, yeah, hidden job market, I get it, it's networking. Well, I do networking and, I'm doing that already, so whatever, right? Like, either it's not really working for me, or I guess I'll just keep doing it and hope for the best. Well, a lot of people are doing things wrong within the hidden job market. So either they have really good contacts and they are burning them, or they're not coming across the right way to those contacts. I had someone recently tell me they got these really, really great, like, amazing contacts for their dream jobs, and they were like, oh no, hidden job market doesn't work for me because I met these people and they said they weren't interested, so I guess, like, it's just not a realistic career move for me. And I was like, what? What exactly did you say to these people that they weren't interested? Because if you communicate yourself the right way, you should be getting good traction with these contacts. I had a client who has really, really great contacts, but he was running into this. So all these great contacts, like, some of them were trying to help him out and whatnot, but it never seemed to lead anywhere. Or some of them were like, yeah, like, let me know if I can do anything, but they didn't really help that much. And after we started working together and we got clear on the first 2 sections of this, and then we also got clear on what exactly to tell these people, he went back to the same contacts, and the people who had previously not been able to help him all of a sudden started hooking him up to those positions. And I even had a client who was rejected from her dream job. Like, they literally said, no, sorry, you're not what we're looking for. And she went back to them, and then they offered her the position. So what changed, right? The only thing that changed, it wasn't that all of a sudden she had more experience. Like, a lot of people go, oh, I'm not getting the job, I'd better go back to school, or I'd better find some way to get that missing experience and then finally they'll hire me. But most of the time it's not about that. It's like, in Laura's example, there was no new experience on her CV. There was no new contact. It was the very same person. Nothing changed except the way that she approached them and the way that she explained her value and the way that she positioned herself. And just coming back to the positioning, another part of this that's really, really important is that the effect of how they see you even before they meet you. So it's called preeminence. So, for example, the other day when I got a call from this big boss person, let's call him a big boss person to not be too specific, but they gave me a call and I didn't have to sell myself. Like, people are always telling me, oh, I'm afraid to sell myself, or I don't want to be like that, I don't like that energy. But you shouldn't have to ever sell yourself. You should be positioned in a way that you have preeminence, which means that when they call you up, they already see you as, like, the person they need. So this big boss who called me up said, you know what, I've already seen like 10 CVs, people keep referring these people to me, but none of them are who I want, and I just got referred to you and you are the one I want, everything is perfect, I'm so excited. And he was selling the position to me. Like, I wasn't planning on getting a new job right now, but he really sold me the position, and I was like, okay, well, this does sound really good, maybe I will take on a job now after all. So that's preeminence. That is being targeted for the position and being seen as that specialist, having that branding, right, which comes across either on your social media profiles, in person via word of mouth, and on your CV, cover letter, other such materials. All those things position you so that when you're actually in touch with that key contact, it's not like you're having to sell yourself for the first time. They already know who you are. They're already pretty much convinced, and then you're just sorting out the details. So this whole phone conversation we had was literally just him trying to sell me the job, and then discussing a bit of logistics and a bit of like specifics about what I would be doing on the job. But it was mostly him selling me the job, now come to think of it. And so that's why preeminence is so important, because that means you can do away with having to try to sell yourself, and you can just be you, and you can just accept the job, the job that you want, and get to it and be paid lots of money to do work that you love, where you're going to make a really great impact. And then from there you keep on building. But the really key takeaway here that I want all of you guys to get is that this is a system. This is not like a magic pill. This is not like desperation mode. Please, please, please refer me. Please, have you heard of anything? Oh, keep me in mind. Like, it's none of that. It is planting seeds into a system, and all of these seeds grow at different times. And that's why it's so important to start as soon as possible, because some of these seeds could take a long time to grow. Like this particular seed, how old was it? It's probably a couple of years old now. This job offer I just got probably came from a seed I planted a few years ago. Since then, though, I've watered that seed in various different ways, which I won't share the specifics with you because I reserve that for my clients. But the point is, you need to get the system going for you. You need to have those seeds planted so they can start growing. Obviously, that doesn't mean you need to wait for years for the seeds to grow, because one of the biggest principles to follow is to never ever wait. So you never ever want to do something like send an application, do some kind of networking, any action really. You never want to do an action and then wait around hoping it's going to turn into something. You always want to have other, what they say, like stoves on the fire, other seeds that are planted so that you always have something coming up. And that's why for the last 10 years, I've never had to job hunt. There's always opportunities cropping up for me because the system is in place. The seeds are planted. All I need to do is water them here and there. And then there's always this steady stream of opportunities. So the sooner you can start this process, get the system going with you, usually within a few weeks' time, you can start getting your first opportunities, and then you're in building mode. All you need to do is maintain those seeds, keep watering them, keep doing you, keep gaining that experience, keep building, and it really becomes an ecosystem where you are feeding the ecosystem, which leads to more opportunities, and those opportunities lead to more opportunities, lead to more opportunities. And a lot of you guys, I know you're looking for your next big break, but I can assure you it's not about a big break, because I talk to people all the time who had their big break, like they had this amazing opportunity, they were all excited, and then they get stuck. Either they get stuck in that position, which they outgrow it, and now they're just stuck there. Like what was a good salary when they were in their 20s is no longer a good salary when they're in their 30s or their 40s. Or the job has just become really mediocre, really boring, or whatever. The point is they got stuck. Or it was a great job, but they got laid off, and now they don't know what to do because they did not have a system that was actually working for them. So super, super important to escape. I know people are always saying, oh, you just have to get a good opportunity, this and that, just, review your CV, that kind of stuff. But that is what most people do, and that's why most people are in this rat race, and they're constantly competing, and they're constantly feeling like they're not quite where they want to be. Like they're in a spot where they have all of this potential, and they know they have this potential, but then they can't reach their potential, so they start to question, like, well, maybe this is all there is. Maybe I thought I was meant for more, but it's not really realistic. It's not really attainable. I don't want you guys to fall into that trap, which is where most people are. So it's the easiest thing to fall into because it's the norm. It's totally normal to be unhappy with your job and just to work to pay bills and then look forward to the weekend. So if you guys want to be in a position where you have a constant stream of opportunities, where you can take your pick of the best jobs and you can earn a great wage while making your impact, really important to make sure you have a system and you're not following the masses. So for those of you who are ready for that, who are like, I'm tired of being in a position where I'm not living up to what I could be doing, feel free to send me a message and I'll see if there's any way I can help you. I cannot help everyone. I just have about 4 spots left right now in my program. So if that is something that you feel you need, like you feel like you are not getting to where you want to go, then definitely send me a message. Don't wait around. The more time you waste not getting results, the more time, the more you fall backwards and you get less confidence. You lose time that you could have been using to build the system and build up your experience. And what I see a lot of people doing is actually burning contacts that if we'd started together earlier, they could have been building relationships with those contacts in the right way, as opposed to actually scaring them off. So sometimes we can fix those situations with those contacts. Like I said, I've had clients who burned the contact originally, then we go back, we're able to get it back. But of course, the ideal is to do things properly from the get-go. So if you want help, send me a message. I'll see if I can help or not. And otherwise, let me know below what other questions you have. What is your main goal for 2020? And I will see you guys on the next video. Hope that was helpful, and I'll talk to you next time.